Okay, here's part two. I'm sorry about the last part, but here's part two. Squidward lands in the bucket, and Patrick falls on him very unharmed. And because Patrick didn't get hurt, the customers then got angry and attacked Mr. Krabs, and they stole their money back, as well as his clothes. Even when he tells them there was no refunds, Mr. Krabs gets so infuriated. You know what he says to Patrick that made Patrick bald his eyes out? He says to him in a very he says to him very coldly, "You're fired. And as long as I am standing here, you will never wear this hat ever again." Like, that's cold. Very, very cold of what Mr. Krabs said to him. Yes, and Patrick bawled his eyes out and saying that he's going back to being an asshole with and no hat pat as well. Yeah. Then a melancholy Patrick then leaves the Krusty Krab and then goes home. And SpongeBob cheers Patrick up and tells him he can wear his hat anytime he pleases, and so they go back to their normal lives. At least what SpongeBob did to Patrick at the end, it was pretty warm of him to do so, because Mr. Krabs acted so cold to him while SpongeBob acted warm to him, saying that he can wear his hat anytime that he pleases. And that's it. That's all I gotta say. What could I say? Is it awful? It's more than just awful. Terrible? More than just terrible. Mean-spirited? It's actually more than mean-spirited. It's atrocious. Yeah. This was atrocious. For one thing, Patrick just kept on falling and kept hurting himself. He didn't even do anything to actually help Mr. Krabs. Like, all he ever done was hurt himself or kept on falling. And Mr. Krabs actually wanted Patrick to hurt himself with bucket of sea urchins. Okay, this doesn't remind me of SpongeBob. This actually reminds me of an episode of Happy Tree Friends instead. Or another show, Jackass. Yeah, I'm talking about the MTV show Jackass. That reminds me of that show too. You know, Jackass, where they do lots of dangerous stunts. Yeah, something like that. And Patrick had a bloody nose, all because he kept on falling. SpongeBob was about to send him home because of that, but Mr. Krabs, like, "Oh, you really think I'm that stupid? He doesn't even have a nose. So get back to work, all of you. I ain't paying you to sit your asses all day." Like, Mr. Krabs had acted very, very cold throughout the entire episode of this one. He acted very cold. He showed no sympathy to Patrick. Even if he had a bloody nose, he still acted cold. No matter what. Man, Mr. Krabs had became nothing but a huge dickhead. Like, really, he is that bad of a character. Especially with all the bad actions that Mr. Krabs caused, like torturing Plankton non-stop, firing SpongeBob all because of a fucking nickel. What else? Blaming SpongeBob because he thought he stole the formula when it was actually him that stole the Krabby Patty formula. Like, yelling, even becoming bitchy to SpongeBob and tell SpongeBob that he's not getting a good enough sleep. Yeah, all those bad actions that Mr. Krabs had done made him so unlikable and so hateful and so cold. I don't... Like, even the writing, I thought it was just horrible. Like, they could have at least done a better job. Like, Patrick doing something. Patrick at least using his common sense. At least. But no. We don't get any of that. No, sorry. All he does is fall and being nervous, and that was all. And at first, he didn't do it right, and Mr. Krabs bitches at him, and yeah. And Patrick, because Patrick was bitchy first, because he wanted to work, and he was interested of getting it. And at the end, Mr. Krabs acted cold to Patrick, saying that he'll never wear his hat ever again for the rest of his life, and that made Patrick so sad. I even thought the directing for this episode was just terrible. Like, the humor, I find the jokes to be pretty mean-spirited as well. So yeah. Why did Patrick have to do all this to him? Like, hurt himself? Like, that's not funny. Like, what's wrong with Mr. Krabs? Really, I would really like to know what's wrong with him. See that, guys? Of all the bad things Mr. Krabs had done in seasons 5 to 9, he is one of the worst characters ever. Not only is he greedy and selfish and penny pitching, but he sometimes acts very cold and unfair. Like, yeah. I'm surprised that Mr. Krabs is still working at the Krusty Krab. How come he didn't got arrested for all the heinous stuff that he's done? And how come he didn't lose his job at the Krusty Krab? I don't get it. If he keeps doing all the bad things, and might as well just make the Krusty Krab just go out of business. That's all. For all I care, it should have just gone out of business after the Krusty Sponge. But no, the Krusty Krab still goes on in seasons 5 to 9 and onward. Even though I don't care for SpongeBob from 2019 to 2022 as of this day. This is just stupid if you ask me. So yeah, my opinion on No Hat for Pat, just a mean-spirited episode. And for my final rating for this episode, it gets a 1 out of 7. What a terrible SpongeBob episode. And there you go. Thanks for watching, folks. Make sure you comment, like this video, subscribe to me, turn on notifications, and don't forget to send me requests, and I'll try to do them as soon as possible. This is Jonathan's Media Shack here, signing off. I'll see you guys next time. Stay safe, and peace out, y'all.